Everyone would say to my parents with a smile, 2 daughters and a son, that's the best, but no one ever said, best for whom, in what way, why is it best, who benefits, and who doesn't. I figured out the answer to this question when I was 7 years old, but my sister could never understand it in her lifetime. My sister is 10 years older than me, and there were several sisters between us at one time, without exception. None of them grew up healthy, they either miscarried or died of illness. I must have been lucky to survive, as I was the one who got to stay. When I was 3 years old, the family finally welcomed a baby brother. My mother joyfully declared that she would stop having children from then on. My father also changed his previously lazy and defeated attitude, starting to work hard to earn money. They always liked to test my sister and me at the dinner table. What do you want to do when you grow up? My sister's answer always pleased our father the most. I want to earn lots and lots of money, buy a big house for the family, and get delicious food for mom and dad. He would laugh heartily, showering his sister with praise, and end with a sigh, oh dear, by then I'll be old. I don't know if I'll live to see your brother get married and have children, or if I'll ever get to hold a grandchild in this lifetime. His sister, being extremely filial, would always comfort him by going along with his words, don't worry. I'll earn money to buy a house for my brother and help him get married. They don't like me much, because I'm not good with words. Every time they patiently guide me, expecting me to give the right answer, I just stare at them blankly. So they say the second child is dull and lacks spirit, not as quick-witted as the eldest, but I was born quite cute. I heard that when I was little, a well-off distant relative took a great liking to me and wanted to adopt me. They discussed it with my parents multiple times, but nothing came of it. My mother loved to bring this up over and over again, with a subtle mix of pride and expectation in her expression as she told the story. She expected me to feel grateful for it, grateful that they kept me in this family despite their poverty. All the good food at home had to be given to my younger brother first. Your brother is still young and needs nutrition. Be good, Moore, and don't fight with him, okay? My name is Moore, the extra person in this family. The sister is named Happy, and everyone is delighted by her birth. The brother is named Precious, the treasure of the whole family. Only I am Moore, the extra one in this family. Everyone in the family says this. You were just an extra. Having your sister and brother is enough. They said it with smiles on their faces, straightforward as if it were the most natural thing, as if a child couldn't understand anything at all. I once stole and ate my younger brother's milk powder. I'd scoop a spoonful straight into my mouth and chew it dry, sweet, with a milky fragrance. It was the first time I had tasted something so delicious, but I didn't dare eat too much at once, afraid my mother would find out. However, I was eventually discovered and thoroughly scolded. I was too young back then, always craving snacks and couldn't resist sneaking a little bit. Little by little adds up, and it was easy to get caught. I was the only suspect in my mother's eyes. She would never suspect my sister because my sister didn't like powdered milk. Besides powdered milk, there were many other things my sister didn't like to eat, anything expensive or that our parents thought wasn't worth buying. She just didn't like. Occasionally when we had stewed ribs or stir-fried shredded pork at home, I would always be drooling with desire. But my sister would hold her bowl and hide away. I hate eating meat the most. Mother would smile helplessly and chide my sister with an indulgent tone for being picky. It's all because your father spoiled you. Then she would turn to pick out the best pieces of meat for my younger brother and say to me, eat less, look how fat you've gotten, not a bit ladylike. How will you ever get married in the future? Then the whole family would laugh and chime in, yes, Moore, eat less, or you won't find a husband later. They wouldn't stop and eat in peace until my chopsticks no longer reached for the dining table. Because of my dullness, my parents never worried about hurting my self-esteem. They would say, the second child is the most thick-skinned, like a block of wood. People are often surprised when they hear that I come from a family of 3 children. Then, upon learning that I'm the second daughter with a younger brother, their surprise is tinged with a hint of pity. But when they speak to my parents, they'll nod approvingly and say with admiration, 2 daughters and a son, that's the best combination, you're truly blessed. Father and mother would always smile without answering. I once thought this was just polite talk from others, to save face for them having a boy without needing a second child. Only later did I realize they genuinely felt this way was good. As I mentioned before, because of my dullness, they thought I was slow, so they rarely cared whether I was present when speaking. One time, my father came home after drinking outside. He was in high spirits when he returned, holding my younger brother and teasing him non-stop. While playing with him, he said, "Our precious will be blessed in the future, with two older sisters. He'll never have to worry about food or clothes. His sisters will earn everything for him. They'll buy him a big house, a car, and even find him a new wife." As he said this, 6-year-old me was squatting in the yard, washing clothes. Mother glanced at me, and seeing no reaction from me, she said nothing more. She then peeked into the room, noticing my sister wasn't there. I could clearly sense her relief. She walked over to father and gently patted him. "Be more careful with your words from now on. The kids are grown up and can understand what you're saying." Father didn't seem to care at all. "What's there to worry about? They're my own children. Even if I say a few things, would they really stop taking care of me?" She said with a laugh while teasing her younger brother. "Our precious is truly blessed, having two older sisters to work for him and even getting 2 dowries. When we grow old, he won't have to worry about us. We'll have 2 daughters taking turns to care for us. Isn't that right? Oh, our precious is such a lucky little boy." I may be slow to react, but I have a good memory. I quietly took note of these words and would mull them over whenever I had the chance. By the time I turned 7, I finally understood. It was my birthday that day. Father said he would buy a roast chicken to bring home. I was especially happy and looked forward to it all day. Back then, I was really craving meat, and the thought of having roast chicken for dinner made me work with extra enthusiasm. Later, Father came back. On the bicycle's rear seat sat my younger brother, and the chicken bones he had gnawed into a scattered mess. There was no roast chicken. He only bought 2 chicken drumsticks. On the way back, they had already been mostly gnawed away by his younger brother. He shoved the drumstick, now basically just bones and chicken skin left in his brother's hand, into mine. "Hurry up and eat. Your brother was hungry." So he took a few bites on the way. As his older sister, "Don't be so petty, be more generous." I couldn't hold back my tears and quickly cried my makeup off. Some nosy neighbors came over to watch the commotion. Seeing this, my mother felt embarrassed and started hitting my bottom with a broom. "What are you crying for? Your tears are worthless. What's wrong with your brother having a couple of bites? You're no sister at all. We should have given you away back then. Ungrateful wretch. You're not lacking food or clothes. And yet you're so greedy for that piece of meat. Pathetic." The more she hit me, the harder I cried. Mother grew even angrier. That night, she locked me outside the front gate. I'm most afraid of the dark. Later, I desperately banged on the door, shouting over and over that I was wrong, that I knew I was wrong, until she finally opened the door and let me in. She looked at me and asked, "Will you still be stingy in the future? Will you still fight with your little brother over things?" Seeing me shake my head, she nodded in satisfaction. "Just be obedient, or I have plenty of ways to deal with you." That night, I had no food to eat. Father said it was to teach me a lesson. I couldn't sleep on an empty stomach, tossing and turning in bed. I share a room with my sister, but since she lives at school, I'm the only one in the room. Every night before bed, I turn off the light and quickly burrow under the covers. I'm afraid of the dark and scared to sleep alone. I really envy my younger brother. He gets to sleep with our parents all the time. I started sleeping on my own before I was even 2 years old, huddled under the covers. It got stuffy, so I had to poke my head out for air every now and then. After doing this a few times, I could gradually fall asleep, but this time, I was too hungry to sleep. Even after sticking my head out several times, it didn't help. Eventually, I gave up trying to sleep. I stayed still under the covers, pretending I was already asleep. Then I heard laughter and cheerful voices from the bedroom next door. My younger brother clamored to eat ice cream. My mother coaxed him, saying it's the middle of the night. Where would we get ice cream? She promised to buy him some tomorrow. He threw a tantrum, refusing to give in. Before long, I heard my father's footsteps and the sound of the door opening. A short while later, my father returned with ice cream. The sound of footsteps, the door closing, and my younger brother's cheers traveled through the sliver of light from the door crack, reaching my ears under the blanket, where I was slightly sweating. Everything was understood without words. Just having turned 7 years old, I suddenly understood everything. It was as if a long-closed window had suddenly been opened, and my usual emotional numbness vanished in that instant. whether it was fortunate or unfortunate, I couldn't tell. Everyone said I had become formidable when my mother cooked meat dishes. I no longer put down my chopsticks just because of what they said. I eat whatever my younger brother eats. When my mother tried to stop me again, saying I was too fat, I blinked and replied, "But my classmates are about the same size as me, their parents even think they're too thin and say it's the time for growing," always urging them to eat more meat. "Mom, are you saying this because you don't want me to eat?" My mother opened her mouth but said nothing more. She quietly moved the plate a little closer to her younger brother, unable to reach it. I stood up to grab some food. Father smacked my head hard, saying, "What kind of behavior is this?" Like a starving ghost reincarnated, covering my head, I looked at him and said, "Mom moved the dish away." I couldn't reach it. My mother didn't expect me to be so blunt and felt a bit awkward. She shoved the dish right in front of me. Here, take it all." I neither cried nor got angry, just kept putting more meat into my own bowl. After that night, I understood one thing clearly. If I don't fight for myself, no one else will ever fight for me. Everything I want, I have to take and seize for myself. My sister clearly doesn't understand this principle. She always secretly gets angry and upset when my brother and I eat a few extra pieces of meat, thinking our parents are too pitiful. I said to her, "When we grow up, we can just buy them more. Isn't that fine?" She ignored me, saying I had no conscience and didn't know how to cherish our parents. Every time she served rice, Mother would always fill my sister's bowl to the brim, because she knew that my sister would always share the best from her bowl with her and father. Without exception, father would refuse with a look of resistance, even get angry, then viciously eat bite after bite of whatever sister put in his bowl. Sister would spend ages coaxing him with sweet words each time. Mother would pretend helplessness, acting as if she couldn't handle sister, eating a small portion herself while giving the lion's share to little brother whose bowl was already piled mountain high. My sister held the nearly empty bowl with a blissful smile on her face. She said this was what home truly felt like. I stared at the thin vegetable soup in her bowl for a long time before picking up a piece of meat for her. She paused, glanced at me, then slowly ate that piece of meat, chewing deliberately, savoring every bite. It turns out she also enjoys eating meat. As for me, I've learned to serve myself rice. I would directly tell my mother, "Mom, the portion you serve me isn't enough. I want to serve myself." My mother was taken aback, but for the sake of face, she couldn't say anything. Sometimes, I'm quite grateful for this. They care about face, so I have room to fight for my rights. I don't want it. This thing is completely useless, especially when I'm starving. My sister has always had a good reputation, with everyone praising her for being sensible and filial. Her academic performance is also excellent. Father especially enjoys taking her out to show off to others. Our eldest daughter scored first place again this time. Ha ha ha. She would even squeeze money from her living expenses to buy birthday gifts for her father and mother. Every time her father gave her money, she would only take a portion, saying she hadn't spent the last amount yet and that he could give less this time. She was the model child that all the neighbors envied. Meanwhile, I happened to be her exact opposite. My grades were neither good nor bad, just passable, but far from being something my father could proudly boast about. I had a sharp tongue, and whenever they treated me unfairly, I would loudly complain about their favoritism and injustice, which was quite effective against my father who cared deeply about face. I never shortchanged myself, refusing to pinch pennies from my living expenses to satisfy their vanity. Every time my mother tried to hint that she wished I could be more like my sister, I would just look at my younger brother. "Didn't your brother also not send anything? He can't even remember your birthdays. Unlike me, at least I know to say happy birthday. I just follow whatever my brother does." When our father took us out, someone teased him, "Old Chen, looks like you've raised two sons." My father could only force an awkward smile, then turn his head to glare at me fiercely. On the way back, whenever he showed any intention of scolding me, I would start wailing and running outside. The crying would always attract onlookers, and with so many people around, they'd feel too embarrassed to do anything to me. They could only scold me half-heartedly with a few harmless words. How can a girl be so wild like a monkey? No manners at all. Why did I give birth to such a thing? Why can't you learn from your sister? Serves you right for being the extra one. Should never have had you. My sister started dating a guy in college. That boy treated her very well. was considerate, and they had a great relationship. There was just one thing. The guy's family was from out of town. When he came to the house carrying a pile of gifts, my parents had dark expressions the entire time. Through conversation, they learned that the guy's family wasn't well off financially, which made them even more displeased. They immediately pressured my sister to break up with him. Our daughter won't marry someone from out of town. You two should break up now. The guy immediately responded that he could buy a house and settle down in the girl's hometown. It was clear that he genuinely liked my sister. My sister also gave him a touched glance. The father and mother were still not satisfied and directly laid out their demand, 300,000 in betrothal gifts, not a penny less. The young man froze. Uncle, auntie, I just graduated and can't come up with that much all at once. The father immediately started shooing him away. If you can't afford it, then leave quickly. Don't waste my daughter's time. After the boy left, my sister kept crying. Mother was trying to comfort her by her side. Sweetheart, your father and I are doing this for your own good. Think about it. His family has no money, no house, and he's from out of town. If you marry him, how much hardship would you have to endure? Not asking for much bride price. That won't do. This is the sincerity he must show. Otherwise, when you marry into his family, your in-laws will look down on you. And others will laugh at our family for giving away a daughter for free. Wouldn't that be like paying to marry you off? Trust your parents. We only want what's best for you. Your father and I just hope you can live a good life. Be obedient. There are plenty of good options here. I'll definitely pick the best one for you. They locked my sister at home. That boy came a few times, but was chased away by father each time. My sister cries every day. I ran over and asked her, Sis, do you really like that guy? She nodded. Then I asked her what she liked about him. She thought for a while and told me that the guy would bring her brown sugar ginger tea when she wasn't feeling well, remind her to eat properly every day, and try to cheer her up when she was unhappy. When they ate together, he would even give her the chicken drumstick from his own bowl. The only thing I really took in was that he was willing to share his chicken drumstick with my sister. Someone who's willing to give away their chicken drumstick probably can't be that bad, right? I asked her, will you be happy with him? My sister thought for a moment, then nodded. I think so. I took out the household register and my sister's ID card that our mother had hidden from behind my back. Here, sis. My sister was shocked as she took the household register from my hand. More, you, I whispered. Shoo, keep it down. I secretly took these from Mom's room. My sister looked at the household register and ID card in her hand with a complicated expression. Aren't you afraid Dad and Mom will hit you? They'll definitely be angry if they find out you stole something. I smiled at her. It's okay. As soon as they hit me, I'll run away. Once I'm out, they won't hit me anymore. I continued, Sis, I'll cover for you tonight. You should pack your things in advance. My sister hesitated for a moment, but Mom and Dad will definitely be furious if they find out. I asked her, so are you willing to marry the blind date they introduced to you? The blind date our parents favored was nearly 10 years older than my sister. His family was in business, very wealthy, with multiple properties. They took a liking to my sister for being young, beautiful, and a college graduate, proactively raising the bride price to 500,000 yuan. Our parents were overjoyed and agreed on the spot. After thinking for a long time, my sister tightened her grip on the household register. I'll pack my things right now. The process went smoother than I had imagined, but after I sent my sister out, I turned around and saw my younger brother staring at me. I wonder how long he had been standing there watching. My heart skipped a beat. I forced myself to stay calm and said to him, Precious, I'm warning you. Don't meddle in other people's business. He glanced at me, snorted coldly, and said, Who would bother with your nonsense? Then he strutted back into the room with his nose in the air. I waited anxiously in the room for half the night, and only calmed down when nothing happened. Precious still has a bit of conscience. He didn't go and tattle. It's not in vain that his sister dotes on him all the time. His clothes, shoes, and gaming consoles are basically all provided by his sister, and she also keeps an eye on his schoolwork. My sister took on nearly half of my mother's duties. However, paper can't wrap up fire forever. The next morning, I was woken up by a feather duster. My father and mother dragged me up, beating me while asking where my sister had gone. I gritted my teeth and refused to admit it. If asked, I just said I didn't know. I fell asleep early last night and didn't see where my sister went. Mother rushed to her room to search and found that the household register and ID card were missing. She went mad, grabbing me by the neck and demanding to know if I had stolen them. I was being choked to the point of suffocation, and it wasn't until my father feared I might actually die that he stood up to stop my mother. The two of them sat in the room, overwhelmed with worry. Just like that, the $500,000 that was within their grasp slipped away. Fuming, they cursed as they vented their anger. I knelt in the yard, punished by being denied food. Precious crouched in front of me, holding the pork rib soup his mother had stewed for him. Smells so good. I reached out to grab his bowl. He dodged it effortlessly. You've got some nerve, daring to steal my food. Don't think I won't tell Mom it was you who secretly let sister go. I glared at him coldly. If you dare say a word, you're dead. He got angry. What am I afraid of? I even know it was you who stole the household register. If I tell Mom and Dad, they'll definitely beat you to death. I didn't say a word, glaring at him fiercely. After a while, he walked away with his bowl. TCH, so boring. Precious didn't snitch, but my sister came back very soon. After she left, my mother texted and called her every day, saying how miserable and regretful she was. She said she shouldn't have pressured her so much and should have discussed things slowly. She also said they acted that way because they were afraid she might be deceived by bad people. What if she was tricked into some remote mountain village and couldn't come back? Kept sending messages to my sister about how worried they were about her. Said she and my father were so regretful they couldn't eat, with their hearts and stomachs all in discomfort. Said my father secretly shed tears at night, squatting by the door every day looking out, wondering when my sister would come back. I silently glanced at my father, who had just gone to refill his bowl with another half portion of rice. This braised pork really goes well with rice. My sister is filial and can't bear to see our parents suffer. Faced with this emotional family appeal, she naturally couldn't hold her ground. She soon packed her bags and returned home. When my sister arrived home, my mother hugged her with reddened eyes, and my sister's eyes immediately welled up with tears. My father also patted her shoulder affectionately and said, "It's good to have you back." After my sister returned, they cooked her favorite meals for several days in a row. My mother even brought the food to her room, showering her with endless words of care and concern. They also seemed to stop mentioning the blind date arrangements. With a face full of melancholy, she said to her sister, "We're getting old and useless now. Can't manage anything anymore." Hearing them say this made her sister's heart ache, feeling that she shouldn't have caused her parents such worry. Tearfully, she apologized to her parents, saying she had been thoughtless and caused them concern, promising it would never happen again. Her father and mother finally heard the right answer they had long been waiting for. Satisfied, they took her sister's hand and said she had grown up. The three of them huddled together, moved to tears by each other's presence. Meanwhile, Precious and I watched the heartwarming scene with cold indifference. I couldn't understand why my sister had to come back. Precious was just annoyed, as it delayed his gaming time. His mother insisted he stay and watch, saying, "You should keep your sister company." His parents invested the most in Precious, but received the least in return, like a clay ox entering the sea, vanishing without a trace. Yet they clearly took pleasure in it. He often found his parents annoying, yelling at them to go away and stop bothering him while he played. Occasionally, he would even get physical with his father, but his parents didn't mind at all. In fact, they thought their son was promising and bold, certain to become a big boss in the future. When my sister returned, my theft of the household register couldn't be hidden any longer. My mother raised her hand and slapped me across the face. She wanted to keep hitting me, but my sister stopped her. Now, my sister is the apple of my mother's eye. When she pleaded for me, my mother finally stopped. "If there's a next time, I'll break your legs." After my mother left, my sister asked me if it hurt. I touched my face. It wasn't too bad. After enduring so many beatings over the years, this one was relatively light. But now that you're back, this beating I took was for nothing. As soon as I said that, her eyes instantly reddened. Seeing she was about to cry again, I quickly waved my hand to stop her. "Forget it, as long as you're happy with it." From then on, I stopped meddling in other people's business. My sister took the initiative to break up with that guy. I asked her, "Don't you like him anymore?" She remained silent for a long time before softly uttering a sentence, liking someone doesn't necessarily mean you have to be together. At the wedding, Precious held the big red envelope given by the groom, grinning from ear to ear. Somehow, it's an unlucky tradition. When the sister gets married, not only does the brother not give a gift, but he also gets a big red envelope. I heard that when the brother gets married later, the sister has to give an even bigger gift. Father and mother were also laughing happily, boasting to the relatives at the banquet about how sensible and filial my sister was, while constantly serving Precious the best dishes. I glanced at the groom, his face shiny with grease. I moved closer to my sister and quietly asked her, "Sis, do you regret it?" My sister froze for a moment, then lowered her head slightly. "What's there to regret or not regret? It's all just about getting married and living life. This is good too. It's close to home, and it's convenient to take care of mom and dad." I hesitated but still couldn't hold back from speaking up. "Sis, sometimes you really shouldn't overthink about others. After all, it's your own life." Unexpectedly, my sister seemed a bit angry. "How can you not consider our parents at all? They gave birth to you and raised you. That's an immense kindness. How can you be so selfish?" She glared at me, as if disappointed by my lack of understanding. "More, I'm not trying to lecture you, but you can't keep thinking only about yourself like this. It's too selfish. Look how hard mom and dad have worked to raise the three of us, skimping on food and clothes just to put us through school. We should be grateful. That's our duty as their children." I didn't say anything more. After getting married, my sister changed a lot. She gradually started to resemble our mother. She became increasingly critical of me. For example, during meals, she would repeatedly remind me to eat more vegetables in front of me and not just go for the meat. In the past, when my mother scolded me like this, she would occasionally stand up for me, saying it was fine for me to eat more since I was still growing. When my younger brother refused to wash dishes or do chores, and I got so frustrated that I left them undone too, she would scold me as well. "Your parents raised you for nothing. You can't even earn money for the family now. Can't you at least do some small things within your ability to help your parents? All you know is how to eat." I retorted that my younger brother didn't do anything either. She would glare at me. "Why can't you compare yourself to the better ones? He's hopeless. And you still expect something from him." Every time my sister comes back, she brings loads of gifts. Most of them were nutritional supplements bought for her father and mother, along with some daily necessities. She would always say to her mother with heartfelt concern, "Don't give it all to Precious. These were specially bought for you, brought back from out of town by someone. They're good for elderly people's health." Her mother would cheerfully agree each time, only to turn around and feed them to her precious son. In the past, she would occasionally snuggle up with me under the same blanket and share amusing stories about her school life. Those were some of the rare happy moments I had at home. But now, whenever I dress up a little nicer, she scolds me in a reproachful tone, saying I'm going to school to study, not to dress up so flashily, and that it affects my learning. It feels like the distance between us is growing wider and wider. My sister's in-laws live very close by, so she comes back every now and then to check if the family needs anything and promptly fills in the gaps. The neighbors all envied my father and mother, praising them for having such a good daughter. Every day, my father would stroll around the village with his hands behind his back, and when he was in a good mood, he'd join others for a game of cards. My mother loved sitting with a group of aunties and grannies, chatting away. The most frequent topics were everyone's praise for my sister and how wealthy her in-laws were. Each time, my mother would end the conversation utterly satisfied, as if she had stumbled upon a fortune. Father would pat Precious on the head and laugh, saying, "If you can't find a job in the future, your brother-in-law will arrange one for you." Precious got a taste of the benefits at her sister's wedding. Giggling, she pointed at me and asked, "When second sister gets married, can I get a big red envelope too?" Mother smiled with doting affection and said, "Of course, when you get married, both your sisters will have to give you grand gifts." Father smiled smugly. "I think we should have each of them give us a house." Precious cheered upon hearing this. "I want to get married soon." Hearing this, father and mother laughed even more joyfully. "Silly child, it's still too early. You have to wait until you grow up." From then on, Precious would occasionally tease me with a few annoying remarks. More, "Don't go to school anymore. Hurry up and get married so you can earn me a dowry." have you thought about how much money you'll give me when the time comes? Mom and Dad said all the family's property is mine, you better treat me well after we're married, or else I won't let you visit your parents in the future. I never indulge him. Every time I hear this, I hit him once. He couldn't beat me. So he turned to our mother to tattle. As a result, I'd more or less end up getting another beating or a scolding, but after it happened enough times, there was some effect. When mother got fed up, she'd complain to Precious, why do you provoke her for no reason? She's not right in the head, just ignore her. The first child my sister gave birth to was a daughter. Her parents-in-law weren't very happy and made her return to her parents' home for postpartum confinement. Right after being discharged from the hospital, my sister came back alone carrying her daughter. My mother asked why her husband didn't accompany her. She paused for a moment, saying he had been too busy lately and didn't have time. Though the mother clearly sensed her daughter was hiding something, she pretended not to notice and chimed in, being busy is good. Men are all like that. Being busy proves he's capable. Look at your dad. He wishes he could be busy but doesn't even have the chance. The sister had fair skin and big eyes, but her daughter didn't inherit her good genes. Not only were her eyes small and her skin dark, but she also had a flat nose bridge. I heard my mother secretly complain to my father, how did this daughter turn out so ugly? She doesn't resemble her sister at all. Daughter takes after father, probably because her brother-in-law's genes were too dominant. My sister was taking care of the child alone day and night, exhausted beyond endurance. So she asked our mother to help out. Mother agreed without hesitation. After helping out for 2 nights, she started hinting, both directly and indirectly, that her back was sore, her body ached, and her heart was pounding from staying up too late. Her sister silently took the child back. After the postpartum confinement period ended, her brother-in-law came to take her sister and the child home. Not long after returning, the couple had a fight. His sister found out he was flirting with young girls outside. They had a huge fight. His sister immediately took the child and went back to her parents' home. In the past, their parents were always happy when she came back, but this time, for the first time, I saw unwelcome expressions on their faces. The sister's attention was entirely focused on the little baby in her arms. Not noticing this, by the time she looked up, her parents' faces were already adorned with smiles. Mother always subtly persuaded the sister while playing with the child, oh dear, why is our little baby crying? Is it missing daddy? The baby is staying at grandma's house now. In a few days, daddy will come pick you up and bring you home. Then grandma will visit your house. Okay. Her sister wasn't a fool and certainly understood the implied meaning in her words. She told her mother, Mom, I won't go back. I want to divorce him. As soon as the word divorce was mentioned, her mother immediately became anxious. What nonsense are you talking about, girl? Pa, what divorce? My sister frowned. Mom, I really can't go on with him anymore. He's gone too far. This is a matter of principle. Our mother sighed and sat down on the edge of my sister's bed. Don't be so stubborn, child. When men are young, they're all like this. You'll have to learn how to manage him. It'll get better as he gets older. I see your husband usually treats you quite well. Just forgive him this once and make him promise not to do it again. Besides, he was just chatting with someone, not actually doing anything, right? Be more forgiving, let it go this time, and he'll surely remember your kindness in the future. Her sister stared at their mother in shock, as if seeing her for the first time. Mom, how could you say such a thing? Her mother gave her a reproachful look. What else do you expect? You throw a tantrum. Stay at home for a few days until he comes to pick you up, saving your face. Isn't that enough? What more do you want? Do you plan to stay at your parents' house forever? Let people laugh at you. You're married now. You belong to his family. How can you keep living with your parents? Where will you live if you get divorced? Your brother still needs to get married in the future. What bride would want a divorced older sister living at home all the time? You can't be so selfish. You have to think about your brother. As she spoke, my mother's voice suddenly rose, as if using volume to emphasize her rightness. After mother left, my sister stood frozen for a long time. In the following days, father also showed his displeasure. He didn't say anything directly, but he would always slam things around during meals, and his temper grew increasingly irritable. Occasionally, he would make veiled criticisms directed at me. My sister marrying into a wealthy family had always been my parents' proudest achievement, but now that she was living at our parents' home again, it was inevitable that the villagers would gossip. For my father, who cared deeply about face, this was an unbearable situation. He no longer wandered around the village, let alone dared to approach the gambling tables, afraid someone might ask him about something. Before long, his brother-in-law arrived. There was no sign of remorse or repentance in him. He took a drag of his cigarette, glanced sideways at his sister, and said impatiently, "Are you coming or not?" His indifferent attitude made it seem like he was just completing a task. It was later revealed that this was indeed a task assigned by his parents, to bring his sister back home, or else they would freeze his credit cards. His sister, holding the child, showed no reaction. Mother and father were overjoyed, welcoming his arrival with boundless enthusiasm, offering cigarettes, serving tea and water, peeling fruits for him, and bustling about with great delight. Seeing her sister remain silent, Mother quickly answered on her behalf, "Go, of course we'll go. Happy has been talking about it for days. She and the child miss you terribly, just waiting for you to come pick them up." Father nudged Mother, "Hurry up and pack the girls' things." Mother responded repeatedly, "Yes, I'll go right now." Sister remained silent as Mother pushed her into brother-in-law's car. After the car drove away, both of them sighed in relief simultaneously. Father continued on his way to the gambling den. My mother immediately dove into the village gossip circle, boasting to everyone about how her son-in-law had come to pick up her daughter and how amazing his car was. After that, my sister came home less frequently. When my mother called her, she said the child was too young and she couldn't get away. So my mother started her usual emotional tactics again, recounting everything from my sister's birth to her career, detailing all the hardships and struggles she and my father had endured. My sister's heart melted as soon as she heard it. The next day, she came back carrying bags of all sizes. Mother looked at those packages with a happy smile, but still said, "You didn't have to bring so many things just to come back. Really, I just don't know what to do with you. I know that after my sister leaves, she will open each gift one by one, scrutinizing and commenting on them, figuring out which ones are worth bragging about and which are just worthless cheap stuff. She never worries about me seeing it, because she believes she can never count on me in this lifetime. As for all her expectations of me, they probably just boil down to hoping for a hefty bride price when I get married. She doesn't expect to gain emotional support or rely on me for her old age." From the age of 7, I started opposing her in everything. No matter the beatings or scoldings, I never changed, and she long ago gave up on me. When chatting with others, my sister is her tool for showing off, while I'm the one who drags her down. When others expressed their envy towards her, she would bask in it while also timely showing that every family has its own troubles, perfectly balancing out the outsider's jealousy. "Oh, don't even mention it. Our second child is driving me crazy. She's already grown up but still doesn't understand anything. Always arguing with me, stubborn as a mule. I wonder which family would dare to take her in. If she could be even 1/10 as good as her older sister, I'd be satisfied." Sigh, "It's my fault too. Maybe I shouldn't have kept her in the first place. She's just an extra burden." Someone comforted her. "Not everyone can be as sensible and filial as Happy. Such good fortune is rare." She sighed. "If they were all like Happy, I'd be willing to have 10 daughters." Someone joked. "Then would you be willing to swap your precious for another Happy?" Her face darkened immediately. "It's your son who should turn into a daughter." See, in her eyes, no matter how perfect a daughter is, she can't compare to a single toe of a son. During my college entrance exams, I performed exceptionally well and got into a fairly good university, but they weren't very willing to let me go. "It's too far away. Girls don't need to read so many books. Finishing high school is enough." My grades have always been mediocre, and they never thought I could get into college. I said I could apply for a student loan and pay it back myself after graduation, without spending the family's money. My father and mother hesitated, unwilling to sign for me. I was already prepared to go out and make a scene. If all else failed, I would borrow money from relatives, but an offhand remark from Precious changed their minds. He pointed at me and asked my father, "If she goes to college, can we ask for a higher bride price later?" My father's eyes immediately lit up, praising him for being clever and smart. In our hometown, a girl's higher education means more bargaining chips for marriage, and the bride price would be higher than usual. My sister is a prime example. Father stared at me for a long time. I knew what he was thinking. He wanted to make me like my sister, to marry into a wealthy family that could support my brother, but clearly, he felt I wasn't as easy to control as my sister, so he hesitated. In the end, perhaps tempted by the prospect of a hefty dowry, he decided to let me go to college. Agreed, I'll sign the student loan for you, but you'll have to earn your own living expenses. I nodded, never having expected him to cover my living costs in the first place. Throughout college, I was constantly busy, always juggling part-time jobs, doing whatever could bring in money. My roommate often says I'm like a mysterious figure. They hardly ever see me except when I'm in class. When my sister heard I was working a part-time job, she tried to give me money, but I didn't take it. She's not doing too well herself these days. Her in-laws made her quit her job to focus on preparing for a second pregnancy at home, preferably with a boy this time. She gets all her money from her brother-in-law, and after buying things for her parents, there's not much left. Besides, I can probably guess that she doesn't get this money very easily. Her brother-in-law constantly has affairs outside, and the situation is getting increasingly out of hand. Her in-laws are pressuring her to have a grandson, which for now still keeps her brother-in-law somewhat in check. But who knows what will happen in the future. Precious didn't get into college, and his father wanted him to retake the exams for another year, just to scrape by and get an undergraduate degree. He refused. Dad, didn't you say I could just follow my brother-in-law and get by? Unable to deal with his stubbornness, his father went to his sister and asked her to talk to her husband about taking Precious under his wing. My sister was in a dilemma. She really didn't want to ask him for help. Father's eyes turned red with urgency. Are you just going to watch your brother become a good-for-nothing at home? You're his sister. If you don't take care of him, who will? Do you want me to die without peace in my heart? As expected, my sister compromised again. When I went back during the holidays to see her, her complexion was getting worse. I said, "Sis, you need to take better care of yourself." She nodded, smiling wearily. "I know, it's just that I haven't had much appetite lately." She was pregnant with her second child, her belly swollen, while her eldest daughter kept tugging at her hand and fussing non-stop. Then, abruptly changing the subject, she said, "You're about that age now, you should try dating. Don't always make mom and dad worry about you." I stared thoughtfully at her daughter who kept clinging to her. "Sis, are you happy in your marriage?" She looked at me, opened her mouth, but said nothing. Finally, she uttered, "It's all about getting by." It's the same for everyone. What's there to say about happiness or not? I couldn't tell if those words were meant to console me or to comfort herself. After working under her brother-in-law for several years, Precious finally got married. Her sister had a son as she wished with her second child, and her status in her husband's family suddenly rose. Her in-laws even gave her some financial control. So when Precious got married, her sister was very generous and gave her a large sum of money. This greatly satisfied the reputation, of my father and mother. After giving birth to a son, my sister's mental state improved significantly. She seemed no longer concerned about my brother-in-law's romantic scandals outside, focusing solely on raising her son and serving her parents-in-law. Her parents-in-law were very pleased with her. As long as there were no major conflicts with my brother-in-law, they always stood on my sister's side. My parents are quite satisfied with their current life, except when it comes to me. After graduating from college, I didn't even go home and went straight to another city, focusing on working to pay off my loans. I avoid answering their calls whenever possible, only occasionally updating them when I'm in a good mood. I was on a business trip when Precious got married, so I didn't go back at all, of course. Even if I hadn't been on a trip, I wouldn't have gone back either. I'm no fool. On the phone, I just said one thing: no money, still paying off loans. How about you lend me some first? I'm particularly grateful that both my parents are extremely concerned about face. I know they wouldn't actually come and force me to pay up. At most, they'd just curse me out in front of all our relatives and friends, saying how unfilial I am. What a heartless ingrate. After Precious got married, Mother started to feel a bit annoyed that sister came back to the family home too often. "Your sister-in-law isn't happy about you always coming back." Sister felt bad for Mother. When she came home and saw Mother doing the housework while her sister-in-law lay around resting, it upset her, and she'd occasionally make some sarcastic remarks. If I say too much, My sister-in-law feels uncomfortable and immediately starts quarreling with Precious. Precious then goes to complain to her mother. Over time, the mother also begins to harbor some resentment toward her sister. After hearing this, the sister felt angry and stopped visiting as often, but the mother kept calling her every few days to complain about trivial conflicts with her daughter-in-law. This made the sister furious, feeling her parents had suffered immense injustice. Now financially secure and assertive, the sister stormed back to her parents' home and berated her sister-in-law. The confrontation reportedly turned into a complete uproar. At first, the mother tried to mediate, but then for some reason, she stood in front of her son and daughter-in-law, accusing the sister of meddling too much. A married daughter is like spilled water. Stop interfering in your parents' affairs, you're making a fool of yourself. The sister was stunned on the spot. How had she suddenly become the villain? Wasn't she there to stand up for her parents? How come neither side is satisfied? After this incident, my sister-in-law actually grew closer to my mother. My sister was deeply hurt and decided to never bother with their affairs again. She called me to vent her frustrations. More, how could mom be like this? I was clearly speaking up for her. Why did she end up siding with outsiders instead? I thought to myself, probably in mom's eyes, you're the outsider. But I didn't say it out loud. Precious is old enough now. He should learn to resolve these conflicts on his own. You shouldn't always step in to solve things for him. These are issues he should be handling himself. My sister was fine until she heard me say that, and then she got upset. More, how can you be so heartless? He's our own brother. If we don't take care of him, who will? You've always been this selfish and cold-hearted since you were little. Don't you even feel sorry for mom and dad, after all they've done to raise you and put you through school? I quickly cut off her nagging. They paid for you, not me. I worked part-time to earn my tuition and living expenses. In fact, I still haven't paid off my student loans yet. With that, I hung up the phone. Just kidding them, I'd already paid off my loan long ago. But in front of them, I maintain my broke persona, the kind who works their fingers to the bone but still can't save a dime. Whenever I mentioned asking them for money, they would fall silent, only to scold me with phrases like, "Your college education was wasted." No surprise there. Before long, my sister reconciled with our mother. I really didn't want to know what they said to each other, how they could let bygones be bygones and resume their loving mother-daughter relationship. The very thought makes me sick. Of course, they would never give up on pressuring me to get married. Precious is waiting to collect my bride price. They've practically mobilized all their relatives and friends to persuade me, trying to force my compliance through emotional blackmail. I don't buy it at all. I block every call that comes through. Precious threatened me with the household registration book. Your household registration is with me. If you want to get married, you must get the family's approval. Don't even think about marrying some poor guy you find outside on your own. I couldn't be bothered to deal with him. Then you hold on to it, keep it until you're in the coffin. I never planned to get married in the first place. Later, when it became too much to bear, I finally gave my parents a call. I've made up my mind. I'm ready to start looking for a partner. On the other end of the line, it was as if they had heard something unbelievable. They were stunned for a long moment before finally reacting, exclaiming excitedly, "We'll find someone for you, someone close to home. Definitely better than your sister's match." I nodded and said, "I think so too, but I like girls. If you come across someone suitable, you can introduce me." After a long silence on the other end of the phone, angry curses came through. "You're insane. Are you out of your mind? Disgraceful thing. How did I end up with someone like you? Are you out of your mind? You're a pervert, a lunatic." I held the phone far away, only bringing it back after the yelling stopped, and calmly said to them, "I'm not joking with you, I'm serious. If you don't want to introduce anyone to me, that's fine. I'll bring someone suitable home for you to meet when I find them. Same-sex marriage is legal abroad too. When I get married, I'll come back to our hometown to hold a banquet. Make sure you attend." Okay. I hadn't finished speaking when the other end already hung up the phone. Within minutes, my sister called. She asked why I had made our parents so angry. And they even tried to get her to persuade me. My sister was completely confused, not knowing what she was supposed to persuade me about. Probably they felt too ashamed to say it out loud. Then, I photoshopped an image and sent it to them, attached with the text, "This is my ex-girlfriend. Just find someone who meets this standard for me." My mother received the picture and called to scold me again. I replied with one sentence. I heard my second aunt is now working as a matchmaker. She must have a lot of resources, right, Mom? Can you give me her number? I'll ask if she has any suitable matches. The scolding suddenly stopped. After a long while, a message finally came through from the other end. You're still young, no need to rush into marriage. Let's wait and see. Don't call your second aunt, and don't mention that matter to any other relatives. I smiled and turned off my phone. Over all these years, their sister had given them so much to boast about. And as people who highly valued face, they cherished this even more. Having grown accustomed to the flattery from relatives, they couldn't bear to hear even a single negative word now. Relations among relatives are extremely delicate. On the surface, they appear affectionate and complimentary, but beneath it all, a sense of competition is constantly at play, just waiting for the right moment to seize on your weakness and mock you mercilessly. They knew all too well that those so-called friends and relatives were just waiting to see them fail, doing everything they could to drag them down, even though they themselves weren't living particularly happy lives either. No one can bear to see others doing better than themselves. Auntie Air was the biggest gossip in the family. Anything she knew would surely be broadcast to the whole world. At the same time, she had also been Mother's object of boasting for many years. The second aunt's child didn't marry as well as her sister, nor was she as obedient and filial. She envied her mother, but also resented her. Her mother was fully aware of this, yet would deliberately flaunt it in front of her. On the surface, they appeared to be affectionate sisters, but behind the scenes, they were constantly competing with each other. Almost everyone knew that second aunt was looking forward to seeing Mother's misfortune. She had once tried to persuade her sister to divorce, but failed. Not long after turning off her phone, Mother sent another message. Whatever you do, don't tell your second aunt, don't call her. Indeed, this move is truly effective. After competing with them for so many years, I clearly know where their weaknesses lie. They fear losing the halo they've maintained for so long. Later, I heard that Precious gave birth to twins. The mother was busy taking care of the children and was truly exhausted, her back and body aching from the strain. But there was no other way, my sister-in-law said. Before the birth, we agreed, I would just give birth, and you would all take care of raising them. Now I need to rest properly, so don't bring the children to disturb me. Naturally, my father wouldn't get involved in such trivial matters. Precious found working too tiring and had long since quit her job. She stayed at home every day playing games, claiming it was to help take care of the children for her wife. In reality, all the work was taken care of by our mother. My sister, feeling sorry for our mother, always went back to help, both giving money and buying things, yet she rarely received any appreciation for it. Our mother would always pour out her grievances to her, but when my sister stood up for her, she would turn around and advise her not to make a big deal out of it. Over time, my sister would always bottle up her anger. She then followed our mother's example and started confiding these issues to me. But I wasn't having any of it. The moment she began talking about family matters, I'd hang up immediately, never giving her a chance to speak. When she tried to educate me, I'd also hang up the phone right away. Over time, she stopped telling me about these things. I was happy to be relieved of the burden. Later, my mother fell ill from exhaustion. My sister took care of her alone in the hospital. She suddenly remembered, somehow, that she still had that little daughter. So she called and begged me to go back and see her. Sounding utterly pitiful, I went back for a visit. As soon as I entered the hospital room, I heard her arrangements. Your sister comes during the day, and you come at night to keep me company in the hospital. I asked, what about Precious? Why doesn't he come? Mother stiffened and shouted, why compare yourself to him? He's busy playing games at home, I bet. My sister also said, taking care of our parents is naturally a daughter's duty. Why do you keep mentioning Precious? I glanced at her. Now she, too, was talking about duties all the time. I thought about it again. After all, she carried me for 10 months and raised me. I should take care of her for a few days as a way to fulfill my filial duty. So I agreed. At night, my mother began to probe indirectly, asking how much savings I had. You've been out there for so many years, you must have saved quite a bit. Don't worry, I don't want your money, I'm just concerned whether you have enough to spend on your own out there. Lying on the hospital cot, I replied, I did save some before. My mother's eyes lit up. I continued, you know, I change girlfriends quite frequently. Every now and then, I'd send them new couple photos. Each time they'd be terrified. Don't send these to anyone else, and definitely don't post them on your social media. Over time, they've come to accept this fact. They could even accept me not getting married, letting me do whatever I wanted outside, as long as I didn't suddenly bring someone back to my hometown. It was clear that they truly valued their reputation. Each time, I would express regretfully, "Is that so? You don't want to meet her. She really wants to talk to you." The two on the other end would immediately refuse. "No need. Whatever you do, don't come back." My mother frowned immediately when I mentioned my girlfriend, trying to stop me from continuing. There were other patients in the ward, but I ignored her and went on. "I had a girlfriend who said she was willing to marry me, but who would have thought she was actually a scammer? She took all my money and even tricked me into taking out loans. Now with the interest piling up, I owe a huge amount. The reason I haven't been coming home is that I'm afraid the debt collectors will track me down." She froze for a moment. I held her hand, my gaze gentle. "Mom, work is really too exhausting. I have to work 3 jobs a day. Could you lend me some money first, so I can pay off this month's bills?" Mother withdrew her hand, forcing a stiff smile. "Where would I have money? The money I have is still what your sister gives me." Afraid I might say something even more shocking, she quickly turned over and pretended to sleep. Indeed, the whole family is now relying on her sister for support. Everyone is draining her dry. It's said that her brother-in-law often argues with her and has repeatedly asked for a divorce because she frequently helps her own family. But now, it's her sister who is unwilling to divorce. They argue every 3 days and have a major fight every 5 days. Life is in constant chaos. The 2 children are caught in the middle, facing the daily dilemma of choosing between their father or mother. Fortunately, her parents-in-law consider her virtuous and filial, firmly standing by her side and refusing to let their son divorce. However, my parents-in-law said they prefer having more children for greater blessings and want another grandson, so she's now striving for a 3rd child. Just hearing about it gives me a headache, but my sister thinks this is life. A life full of flavors, both sweet and bitter. She told me that a family bickering and quarreling their whole lives is actually the happiest thing. I couldn't persuade her, so I could only wish her continued happiness. The other patients in the ward gave me and my mother strange looks when they heard me say, "girlfriend," full of curiosity and scrutiny. Mother clearly couldn't stand those looks, and combined with my attempt to borrow money from her, she kicked me out the next day. I struggled one last time before leaving. "Mom, do you really not have any money? Even a little would help." Her gaze, eager for me to leave, grew even more intense. After that, they never reached out to me again. Later, I heard they considered me a family disgrace and wished to sever all ties with me. Not a single word about me is worth hearing, let alone urging me to return. They'd rather I die out there. Perfect, that's exactly what I want too. This superfluous person, born unwanted, has finally broken free from that household completely. As for my sister, she must be enjoying it thoroughly. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to